Welcome everyone to our live stream. This is I Need Living Conversations. I'm Julian Katari. This is Sacred Blue Heron Woman. We have a conversation each week about very different subjects. This is the 186th conversation. And today there's a very simple word, very simple concept. It's the shortest title in 186 titles I've made. It's the shortest one, but I love it. It's because it says so much with just 4 words, 4 letters, 1 word, 4 letters, which is love.
Yeah.
So that's a conversation. We'll see what's going to be about, but I want to say that some people caught on to this specific show because somebody like said they were going to assist the live stream. It's probably they won't make it anyways, but I did feel somebody caught on to it because we're entering the gay pride month thing, and
Right.
then I chose this. It wasn't on purpose. I really wanted to have this beautiful mountain landscape because to me, like, love involves the whole earth and the sky, and this photo was very beautiful and depicted that, but at the same time it created this kind of rainbow coloring.
Right.
But it almost looks like it's we're wanted to catch that trend.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
So it's something to be controversial about. I don't know if we're going to get into that or not. Probably not. But then of course love is love, and there's all kinds of love, and there's a lot to learn about love, and a lot to deconstruct ourselves and to reconstruct ourselves.
Yeah.
Regarding love, we've had many sessions about sexuality.
Right.
But this is
love, not sexuality.
This is love, not sexuality. So here we go. Here we are. Welcome everyone to this live stream.
Well, before we start, I want to talk about the Saturn-Neptune conjunction. Astrologers are saying they're not going to be exact till February of 2026. The bottom line is they're damn close. They're the closest they've been in the sky for 36 years, and they're just going to get closer. They're going to get close, and then they're going to go apart, and then they're going to come back together because they're both going to go retrograde, right? So 36-year cycle. Let's go back to 1989. 87 to 89 is about the same time frame. They were in the constellation of Sagittarius at the time. 36 years ago, 1987 to 1989. So let's look at some of the world events so we can see the pattern that happened. The U.S. shot down 2 Libyan fighter jets early in 1989. The Soviet Union promised to eliminate their chemical weapons. 140 nations agreed to ban their chemical weapons. Oh, and there was an earthquake in Tajikistan. There was a catastrophic computer virus that got launched, and a military coup overthrew the Paraguayan dictator. So last week we said Saturn and Neptune together tend to end empires and rebuild them. Right there, the Paraguayan dictator got overthrown. Right. So the first 24 satellites for the GPS system got placed into orbit in 1989, and the Soviet military occupied Afghanistan.
Okay.
And then Egypt, Iraq, Jordan, and North Yemen formed a common market. Right. So we talked about how Iraq became that they wanted to break up that empire. Right. Then and the study of the Arctic atmosphere showed no ozone hole, none. So, and then Mauritania, Morocco, Tunisia, and Libya formed a common market. That would be why we shot down 2 of their jets, right? Trying to keep that from happening. We talked about Poland and Russia in Gorbachev and that in shock doctrine. So that happened. We had Tiananmen Square, where martial law was declared, and then that same year, Gorbachev and the Chinese leader resolved to end the 30-year rift between the two of them, Saturn and Neptune, totally working there. And in Washington, D.C., there was a march supporting the Roe versus Wade decision, which upheld that women had the right to decide to abort babies.
Mm-hmm.
There were lots of nuclear tests. Russia did a couple, but the U.S. did most of them in Nevada. And then we had riots in Venezuela. Riots in Venezuela. We had an oil tanker run aground in Hawaii, and we had the Exxon Valdez run aground in Alaska, both of them major oil spills. And there was a solar flare that created a geostorm that affected the microchips, and it shut down Toronto's stock market for a few hours. Okay. And the New York City Stock Exchange went, and 2 years before, in 1987, that's what I meant. In 2 years, in 1987, the New York Stock Exchange crashed, not power-wise, but money-wise. Mm-hmm. Right? So there were demonstrations demanding political reforms that started in East Germany. And there was the first free presidential election in Brazil in 29 years. Saturn and Neptune. Mm-hmm. Right? There were student demonstrations in Prague. And so we see kind of a common theme here, right? Well, at that, like I said, and the U.S. troops ousted Noriega in Panama. So at that point, they were in the constellation of Sagittarius, and Vedic astrology has divided the constellations further down into 27 or 28 lunar mansions that they call nakashatras. And so at that point, they were in, Saturn and Neptune were in the one called Uttara. I can't pronounce it. No, they were in lunar mansion. I can't pronounce it. It's a Sanskrit word, but it's ruled by the water goddess, a water goddess. So the tankers, right? There was also a couple of times we had some deep freezes across 15 states. So remember when we talked about the creation story, and I said that, and how the first world ended with ice, with fire, the second world ended with ice, the third world ended with water. We're seeing this, that though they were linear, they're also still cyclical, and we're still experiencing them. Mm. So this means we're probably gonna endure some major freezing this winter. There were 15 states that were well below zero in February of 1989. And this time, Saturn and Neptune are in the constellation of Pisces, and they're actually not. They're right between Pisces and the constellation Cetus, the sea monster. So we got to think about that. Mm-hmm. And this nakshatra they're in is governed by Uttara something, which is the serpent of the deep. So, serpent of the deep, there are these fish that are called doomsday fish. Okay. There's another name for them, but they're called doomsday fish. And 4 have washed up recently, come up to the surface close enough. One washed up on the shores of south of Australia, Tasmania, and a couple other around there. And then India got one that came up shallow enough, and that's unusual. You might see one every 20 years, but 4 in a matter of less than a month is highly unusual. And the one that came up to be caught shallow enough to be caught in fishermen's nets in India was so long it took 7 men to hold it. Mm-hmm. So if this is not serpent of the deep, I don't know what, right? So there's also, they're saying There's been predictions from a Japanese sage. I don't know at what point. I didn't watch the movie. I just saw the title that this Japanese sage predicted a like cataclysmic tidal wave for this year because of this. And there's actually been a nuclear warhead lost in the Pacific Ocean, somewhere between Japan and the Philippines. So they're kind of worried about that. I think we're going to see the serpent of the deep. I don't know. I'm not predicting cataclysm, but I'm just saying I think we're going to see more of that.
Okay.
So, and the last time they were together in Pisces, between Pisces and Cetus was in 1849. And in 1849, a new Roman Republic in Italy was formed, and then in Rome. And who governs our statutory law with the Uniform Commercial Code? Sorry, there's lots of flies because rain came in again today.
Was it the Romans? No.
The Club of Rome.
Okay. Club of Rome. Okay. Club of Rome.
They're right outside the Vatican, so they're linked to the Vatican. But anyway, so the U.S. Department of the Interior is formed. Gold seekers arrived in Nicaragua on their way to California. There were riots in Montreal, and there were German revolutions starting in Dresden. And interestingly enough, one of the codices of the Mayans is called the Dresden Codex, right? There were also riots in New York City, and Harriet Tubman escaped slavery and guided numerous slaves to freedom.
Okay.
So this is kind of the pattern. This is the pattern of Saturn and Neptune together.
Wow.
And they're the least. I mean, there's so much else going on in the sky, but that's the most important because this is going to be an extended. This isn't a quick conjunction. They're coming together. They're going to come apart. They're going to come together again. And they're going to conjunct exactly in February of 2026. So
okay.
This is
February 26th. We got a while to go.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. This is not a quick journey. Most of the other conjunctions are kind of quick. We've got this going on for 1.5 to 2 years.
How about the square of Jupiter with? I very briefly saw about the square of Jupiter with Saturn.
Yeah, that's just a quick, right?
Okay.
That's a 1 or 2 day thing. This is a 1.5 year long process.
Mm-hmm.
It might be a week or 2 with Jupiter squaring Saturn, but no longer than that.
Okay.
Yeah. So I just wanted to present that because looking at what's going on in the world today, that kind of helps us.
Mm-hmm.
But and Donald Trump declared war on Iran same time, interestingly enough.
Mm-hmm. He formally declared war on Iran.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
This happened when?
It's just a few hours ago today. Early.
Oh, well, that's why I didn't know about it. Okay. Some news for everyone.
Yeah. No. I don't know if it's formal, but we're bombing the shit out of Iran. And Iran I saw on YouTube that Iran has said they are going to target U.S. military bases. So, right, I guess peace talks didn't work out. We couldn't get the Ukrainian resources.
Mm-hmm.
So he tried pushing for Canada or Greenland and got met there. So, trying to go north or south instead of east or west, and that didn't going north to south, north to didn't work. So now he's got to go east again to a Islamic country. So what's under the soil in Iran that he wants? That's all that's about. Trying to make another perfect state. because
Okay.
he's done so well in America.
Mm-hmm.
It's just, yeah. So these are all things. This is going to be, and the Vedic astrologers are predicting recession. So we have to remember the New York Stock Exchange crashed with the last Saturn. So Saturn-Neptune conjunction. So we don't, it's going to be interesting to see what unfolds with this one. And we've got to remember they are in the nakshatra, the lunar mansion of the serpent of the deep. So what's coming up from the ocean bed?
Mm.
Oh, and we've had earthquakes in Colombia, Chile, and in Idaho. There's a cluster of earthquakes, and they're only like 200 miles from the big ass fault line in Yellowstone. If that blows, America's essentially gone.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah. So this is why I'm saying we're seeing, right? If volcanoes start blowing, we've got fire. We've had 20 inches of rain in Oklahoma and a lot of the U.S. in the last 90 days. There's the flooding. We got 10 inches of snow this last winter. We could get more really cold, freezing. So while that creation story I told was linear, we still have to remember Kairos time is cyclical.
Mm-hmm.
And so we're seeing all four worlds happen at the same time right now. Pachamama Gaia is trying to cleanse herself.
Mm-hmm.
But she promised that she would never totally annihilate the human condition again. So, right. So, yeah, with that being said, let's move on to what is love.
And what does that have to do with love?
Well, it's all part of it because she wants to reestablish her original goal of abundant, loving life, living life, loving, right, unity and equality for all, and that is love for eternity. So love is not a feeling. Everybody suffers from love or the fear of it or the lack of it. Why? Because why is love so universally and inevitably heartbreaking, whether it be through the need of a love affair, the death of a loved one, or being locked in with the habitual casualness or grim indifference of a partner? Because we've been taught and conditioned by the world we've brought together to believe that love is a feeling. Love is not a feeling, it's a sensation. Drinking water when you're thirsty is a sensation as you feel the water pushing down your throat. That's a sensation, that's not a feeling. Being in nature or swimming in the sea is a sensation. When the wind blows across your skin, that's a sensation, that's being in nature, not a feeling. Lying down when you're tired is sensational, not a feeling, even though we may say it feels good. The feelings are an emotional interpretation of an experience. But these sensations of drinking water is not an emotional experience, right? Or the wind blowing across your skin is not an emotional experience. It's just a sensation. And sensations are wonderful. So making physical love rightly is a sensation, not a feeling. And so is the love of God, the galactic ordering dynamic. And from this point forward, I'm actually going to call it vital love intelligence, because from Hiroshika Noguchi with Seitai, he called this force vital intelligence. And I love that. It's vital, it's intelligent, but it's love. So it's the vital love intelligence rather than God, rather than Chi, rather than Prana. It's vital love intelligence or vital Munaiki intelligence. So the same goes for joy and beauty. Both are sensational, not feelings. But in our ignorance, we emotionalize joy, beauty, and love. We make feelings of them, personal interpretations based on old emotions. We put our personal past on the present with the result that joy, beauty, and love don't seem to last. But it's our emotional substitutes that don't last. And then we become bored, discontented, and unhappy again. So the sensations or knowledge, the intelligence of joy, beauty, and love is, of course, still there, but it's overwhelmed by the coarser feelings, the emotions of the experience. Feelings are constantly changing. None are dependable for long. We can love someone intensely today and tomorrow or next month not feel a thing for them, except for perhaps the feeling of doubt or depression that what was so beautiful could change so quickly. Feelings, even the best of them, tend to turn to negativity, disappointment, anger, discontentment, resentment, jealousy, guilt, etc. And what goes up must come down. So feelings are no exception in that. So in a couple of days after a high of immense happiness, or what we feel like is immense love, the downside starts, and we wonder why we're feeling moody, depressed, suicidal, or just plain unhappy. And that's because we're paying the piper for yesterday's music. And between the upside and the downside is the no man's and no woman's land of boredom, indifference, inertia, weariness, and pointlessness. So now let's enter our bodies in a real and practical way and face the truth of life, which is also inside our body. We enter our body with attention, or keener perception. To begin with, you must feel me. Me is not the voice. Me is not Ingrid speaking to you, Julian. Me is also not the voice. Is not the voice speaking outside of you. Me is the most intimate part of yourself, where you sense love, sweetness, joy, and maybe feel anger or disturbance. You sense that only in me, for there is only me in the universe, and that is me that you can sense. So sense me. Who is sensing me? I. The intelligence, the reality inside this body. I am sensing me. There is only one I in the universe, for only I in this body call myself I. So there is I sensing or perceiving me. Sense me, for I am sensational. And inside the sensation appears the sensations of joy, hunger, sweetness, with maybe feelings of resentment and anger. And this is entering your body. This is acquainting yourself with me. The basis of me is divine well-being, for the basis of everybody, animal, human being, rocks, trees, is well-being. You are born with well-being in your body. It is only later that you acquire disturbance, frustration, anger, and unhappiness. And these destructive emotions laid upon the divine well-being that is basic to your nature, or the nature of your body, to cloak at that, to camouflage it. So as you enter your body, you are likely to come across these emotions that you acquired. And as you intelligently descend into me, your body, me, your inner being, you may feel some sadness, some resentment, some fear. Don't be put off by this, for those emotions are what you have made, what you have been. They are your past. And what you are doing is descending through them to that which you were born with, which you are, which is your natural self, or being, the well-being. So don't be put off because you want to feel those feelings and not resist them, because as you just be with them, they will dissolve. And don't try to understand me, because me is fundamentally the joy of well-being or life on Mother Earth, and that's kind of impossible to understand as the Tao is. So that is the Tao. Me is the Tao inside. Right. And then you can understand the fear that is in you, the negative emotions, because they're all false. They are what you have acquired. And once you start feeling the well-being, connecting with the well-being of me, that reality automatically starts to dissolve the negative emotions that you have acquired due to the influence of people around you, your teachers, and the very ignorance of society. For society, when you speak to someone or ask someone a question, society quickly gets onto its problems and what went wrong, what might possibly go wrong, what is making it unhappy. You have to become better than that by looking for the well-being, what's good, what's right, and not for the problem. So that's the only way to descend consciously into me, into your very nature, your divinity that is always there. In other words, you're rolling back the time that you have gathered, the past that you have gathered, so that you can go back to the moment where you were born, not as a memory, as the pure beauty, the joy, the well-being that makes the baby in the cradle gurgle without any experience on which to base its happy gurgling. The baby body in the cradle gurgles with joy, with pleasure, without really seeing anything. It's just enjoying being itself, its own very being. So that's how we become as a little child again, to descend in our simplicity, our innocence, and it's there in me, underneath all the cleverness, all the anxiety, all the fear that we picked up in our journey through the experience of life. There's three aspects of me. The first aspect of me is to endeavor to sense the well-being, the peace, and the absolute freedom in me. So always go for the well-being. The second aspect in me is a sensational me. It's a little steady drumming. Then we become aware of the negativity, the disturbance, the fear, the anxiety, and to remember to always perceive the negativity, because perceive the negativity only after you perceive the well-being or the sensational. Don't just go to the problem, for that's like a magnet and it will suck you in, and before long you'll be depressed and emotional and your brain won't be any help because it loves to think. It loves to get experience, and the best experience the brain can get is from anxiety or fear, for then it races around and useless thought, and you're unable then to make contact with the well-being and the sensational, no matter how hard you try. So always go to the well-being and the sensational, and just be aware of the disturbances, but don't linger there. Stay with the well-being, and it will gradually dissolve the other. Life on Earth begins with man and woman. The male-female principle are all there is, the two polarities of love. The only way love can ever be found in existence on the surface of this earth is through the union of man and woman. And I'm, for any alternative gay or anyone else, I'm not, it's everyone has a male masculine and femaleness and a maleness side to them. So that's what I'm referring to. It's not necessarily physically man and woman. And the love that is enduring and revealing of the consciousness of God or life itself is the love by which they bring each other to life. We are so many thousands of years into that existence, and for the vast amount of time, the whole of existence has been getting harder and harder. We have been cocooned in, say, thousands of years of gathering hardness, like being turned to stone. We have mostly lost contact with our bodies. We lost the beautiful wonder of being free in our body, and we're blocked with our emotions, which are all a representation of past experiences. So we have developed a self or ego-like stone inside of us, and it knows nothing about love. It only knows about sex and excitement, orgasm and self-satisfaction. And yet under that stone, that self-ego is the glorious essence of man and woman. And today, which is love, the divine expression of love. And today we all wait and crave to be brought to life somehow or other, to start to really breathe again, to be free again, to get up in freedom every morning, to be brought to love. Because without love, we eventually get brittle and we dry out. Love brings all to life. When Mother Earth was very young, and so were man and woman, our bodies were not as hardened as they are today. We were very substantial in our bodies. And in those days, there was so little past, so little self or ego, that our bodies were not shaped with the form and substance of today. They could be called vital bodies and existed as beings, each with individual consciousness or mind, and each one as light, a vital light. We had the potential of form and substance, and we were connected with the emerging earth to the potential of Gaia's or Pachamama's appearance. We were connected to all of nature by the wonderful thing we now call space. We look across space and see each other, and we have no inkling of what space is. We just accept that it makes it possible for us to see all the separate objects. And in the beginning, when life was very young, space was love. And true, the space in front of us now is actually love. But as we have filled our bodies with the past, and we have hardened them with self-consideration and selfish motives, we have taken the wonder and beauty out of space. Space originally had communication within it, but now we have to communicate across it with our voices and all our messages. And when the earth was very young, and so were we did not speak. We did not have fancy gadgets to send messages. We were the message. We were the light. And each one of us, an individual consciousness, conscious of God, love, life, and truth, and the wonder or this vital love intelligence, and the wonder of being one with the whole potential of life on earth. We are all connected by an extraordinary love between us. And that love is also Father Time and Mother Space. Only the love has been taken, and as the Mayans refer to it, it's the Nacht. So only the life has been taken out of the Nacht, just like most of the life has been taken out of us, because we don't have a clue what it's like to live in freedom and love, truly. So Shakti Yin is the power of the female principle. Shallow Western society just doesn't have a word for the power of this love, vital love intelligence, which is out of existence, but then comes into existence and moves things here. But Shakti, coming from India, is a good word to convey some of that power. And Shakti is the power of love. Shakti is the power of this vital love intelligence or God. The power of divine love waiting forever in every woman, not going anywhere. Man does not have that power. His power is what brings Shakti into existence. Shakti is irresistibly compelled and attracted to the male energy, which is its opposite or partner. It's the power of the universe, and behind all things, it cannot come into existence without the call of man. So they are both powers. Shakti is fundamental, and man is necessary for Shakti to enter existence. Shakti is the greater power, although there is only the power of God or love, vital love intelligence. And God divides, vital love intelligence divides itself into the maleness and femaleness principle, the Shakti and the Shiva Yang. Why is every man on earth thinking about woman? Why is every woman thinking about man? It has never occurred to anyone to ask that question. Why does every man want to be a god? Meaning that he wants to be a gift to woman as her lover, wants the power to love woman and have her love him, wants to be that power. Of course, out of his need to have power over woman, man gets perverse and is cruel to her. Because he is not man enough, he reverts to cruelty to have a sense of power. And he is afraid to give up his independence. But I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about why man desires woman above everything else on earth. I'm talking about this power of the universe, this vital love intelligence. That's what we're craving. Love is forever. Vital love, Munaiki intelligence is forever, because for each one that we loved, there is still love there. But that particular love is not necessarily forever. A partner might take us so far, but there is a limit as to how far any man or woman can go. And that is why so many people have to break up. They're not making the right music anymore. Although they may love each other, they don't love each other enough. And that's the key word, enough. Are you loved enough? Are you loving enough? Are you prepared to love? If you are prepared to love, life will bring someone for you. Just don't get attached, because if you get attached to the one love, then you will suffer when they have to go. And they always have to go, whether it's death or separation, right? So I am nothing but the love of God, or I am nothing but vital love intelligence, vital Munaiki intelligence. That's all I am. And you are nothing but the love of God, or vital love intelligence, and that's all you are. And that's what love is. Vital intelligence.
Wow. Love is intelligence.
Yeah. Vital
Wow.
intelligence. Other
The-
people call it consciousness or the field, but it's vital intelligence.
that's amazing. An amazing description. So that's a lot of things to have said, but is there any more?
No, that's it.
Oh, wow. Wow, this is a powerful journey through love. And I think from this, we can get many answers of things that we didn't know.
Yeah.
Oh, you got your dog there back there. It's like
Yeah.
looking at you. It's like, what are you doing? And so I really liked it. I really liked it. And leaves me a lot to think about. It's something that it's this kind of thing where it's really good to hear it. And it's like, wow, I didn't know that. But at the same time, I know it deep inside.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just an awakening.
And I bet anybody that watched this can say that. Let us know if that's your case, if that's something you knew inside. Give us an example of it. Let us know in the comments. And we want to also let you know that we are receiving anyone that wants to study this in depth in our Owl Council House training program. It's going to get started soon. We're just waiting on, we're not waiting on anything. It's just,
We're allowing. We're
I was going
allowing
to say,
everything to unfold as it's
we're waiting on you, but not even that. It's going to, it's got to unfold.
Yeah.
However, so if you want to check that out, it's aloha.ineedoutLiving.com. And or you can message us. We're not the kind of people that are going to ignore you and that we're going to play busy, because that's the tactic of the guys making money. You got to look like you are really important.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And man, isn't that something a difficult thing to get around your head? That this is not going to happen from the people that think are important, from the people that think are the experts, from the people that think have the money. This has got to happen from the ones below.
Exactly.
But we're really not below. We're actually, I've been thinking about these elite people, and I know that we're in a time right now when the LA riots are happening, and this conjunction thing you mentioned first is bringing about so many troubles, so many situations, and it helps us look at that these guys that in the elite that are driving this, because we got to acknowledge that this is not random.
No, it's
They
not
are
random at all. They're driving.
They're driving it, and they have a schedule for it, and they're even daring enough, unembarrassed enough to even like align it with symbols and dates and even like print it in stones and have you find it, and it's Georgia stones and all those kind of things.
Well, and that's the thing, is it's directly aligned. These riots across the nation are directly aligned. Now, I saw on YouTube today that the FBI is, of course, looking for the source of these activists, and they're of course they're going outside of the country. They're not acknowledging that it's our own people that are doing this. The same with 911, but it's all done to be in conjunction with their planned bioterrorism event on July 4th.
Okay, and what's that going to be?
They're going to disperse a bioweapon somehow. They want 280,000 Americans dead on July 4, another 400,000 injured. They want 200,000 animals dead on July 4 and another 800,000 injured.
Oh man!
and it's supposed to spread to other countries after that. But this is the start, the riots.
Okay. Well, and I was gonna say that these guys, I was thinking about that today, walking to the store, that they're in a worse place than we are. The guys driving this.
Yeah, because they're so full of nothing.
And that's something that we really got to switch around and stop thinking that climbing up that ladder of power and money is getting you closer to any more fulfillment.
Right,
So
exactly.
start looking at the people that are not above that in that ladder, but that then know that the ones that are apparently below or whatever are the ones that can be healthy enough to actually find the solutions,
right,
and find the way out of this chaos.
Be humble enough to listen to guidance. That's what it is.
So I just want to finish with that.
Yeah.
I think it's important. So what's in it for next week?
Next week we're going to talk about light.
Light. Okay, you did tell me about that. Yeah. So love and light. Okay.
Yeah.
Another very short 4-lettered word.
Yep.
It's beautiful. And we're gonna change the live stream to 9 o'clock. Tell people that, and you'll see that on the post. So you're welcome to join us anytime, and thank you for being here. And we won't bore you anymore. Thanks. It's not boring. Yeah. Thanks for being here, everyone.
Yeah.
And it's just because of the yawn. So it's getting late. Let's go. Leave you here. Love you, everyone. See you next time.
Yeah.